This is my dad, Jim.
And this is my son, Chris. My mom and dad were both alcoholics. When I was in second grade, Dad left. He drove up the street. I was playing football with friends in the street. That was the last time I saw him. Third grade, I wrote a report that I wanted to go see my dad in Missouri. I was going to buy my aunt's 65 Nova, cherry it out, drive back there when I was 16. When I was fourth grade, the next year, I found out my dad was murdered. That was kind of the end of any hopes and dreams I had at that time. Age of 14 to 31, I carried on in my mom and dad's footsteps and was an alcoholic. And I took it one step further. I was a drug addict, used all through high school, carried that on into my adult working life. July 1st, 1997. My pager went off. I was dealing drugs to support my own habit. I thought it was another drug deal. I went to a payphone. I called the number. It was a girl that I had hooked up with many months before. She was at Alta Bates Hospital in Berkeley and told me that she had a bundle of joy. And the next morning, after I'd sobered up a little bit, I went up there and I held Chris in my arms. And I knew the moment I held him that he was mine. There was a connection there that like no other. Told her to do whatever she had to do to bring him home. And she turned him over to the state. And he was put in emergency foster care. The commitment that I'd made to myself after I found out I had a son was that I wasn't going to be like my dad. That I was going to be there for my son. I spent the next several months wanting to get clean and sober. As it turns out, that plan just put me deeper into using meth and selling meth, and it seemed the more I wanted to get cleaned up, the farther deeper I fell. I lost everything I owned. I was evicted from the apartment. I'd managed to hold on to my pickup truck. I was sleeping in the back of it. My body was getting sicker and sicker. My legs, feet were completely black. I had dope fiend friends wanting to give me their medical cards so I would go to the hospital. I had gone in and out of the county hospital a couple times, but the last time I went into the county hospital and my body was completely poisoned, an intern doctor there gave me a pamphlet for rehab facilities, and so I made the phone calls. I got accepted into one of them, and I showed up. In rehab is when I learned of a higher power, about God, a God that loves me. It taught me about the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, to turn my will and a life over to a power greater than myself. Through that is when I put my trust in God. They took me to church on Sundays. It was a volunteer bus that would pick us up. There was a lot of loud music and a lot of singing, and I related to that. And they gave me a Bible, and so I took that Bible home to the rehab house and started reading. I got out of rehab, kept going to meetings, got a job, and was taking the steps that I needed to do to reunify with Chris. And by the time he was 8 months, I had full custody of my son.
Some of my first memories growing up with my dad are us being involved in local church communities, and there would be a lot of food and fun for myself. And my dad loves to say that it wasn't just food and fun, but it was love, and we were being shown love as a part of that community.
In August 2007, I met the most amazing woman. 6 months later, we were married. She had 5 kids, so we became an instant Brady Bunch.
Something that's so amazing about Liz is that she has such an incredible relationship with the Lord that really helped bond our family and bring us together. And in 2011, we all found ourselves starting to attend 3 crosses. We each sort of found our own little thing to get involved in and connected in. For me, that was starting to lead worship as a freshman in high school, and church really became home.
In 2015, I got a phone call. I was notified that the man who murdered my father was coming up for parole. All the stuff about my dad is now resurfaced. Struggled, didn't know whether I should go back to Missouri to attend this parole hearing. What's the right thing to do? I didn't know how I would react. Would I fly off the handle? Would I jump across the table? I even asked Chris whether I should go.
I was just thinking of how healthy and emotionally healing it would be for him to get the closure on my grandfather's life. And so I was really encouraging him to making the trip out there.
I didn't have a clue what I was walking into when I walked into that room. It was a very small room, 10 by 10, 3 parole board members on one side, a couple security guards on the other, me, my cousin, and the man that murdered my father. Through the grace of God, I was not angry at him. Whatever the outcome was going to be from that parole hearing, he was no different than I was. I'm a sinner, he's a sinner. And if I can be forgiven for the things that I had done, so could he. When I walked out of the parole meeting, I didn't care whether he was going to be paroled or not. Heading home, I didn't know how blessed I am as a man, as a father, the family I have with Liz, Chris, Haley, Hannah, Katie, Jacob, Molly, Kara, our grandkids, is just an abundance of love that I never deserved.
I am so incredibly blessed in my life that I've grown up with a father and that I have such a great example to look to as I'm preparing to get married in a year. I was so excited to get my dad's sobriety date of November 7th, 1997 tattooed on my forearm, just as a constant reminder of who he is and where he's come from, and a constant motivation to live like my father and chase after living like Christ.
Through my relationship with God, I have a father.
I'm thankful to have an earthly father that reflects our heavenly Father. It makes living like Christ so much more easy in my life because all I have to do is look to him, and I can see Jesus working in him, and I can see him living like Jesus, and that is just something that I want to replicate with my life.